Well, with that, let's also tell you how the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. I'm not saying this. This is ancient Chinese strategist and author Sun Tzu, who's written it in his book, The Art of War, 2,500 years ago. Today, these words exactly describe what Iran is doing to the United States. On the 28th of February this year, Washington would have dismissed this as impossible. But today, many believe that Iran and not America is setting the rules of this war. For decades, remember, the United States defined the battlefield in West Asia. American aircraft carriers moved, governments reacted. American sanctions hit and economies trembled. It was the American presidents who drew the red lines and allies lined up behind them. But today, that has changed. Has Iran succeeded in forcing the United States to fight on Iran's terms? Is Iran playing Donald Trump? Well, let's quickly show you what the United States has been saying since the last few days. On the 27th of May, US President Donald Trump did not give a clear answer when he was asked about the deal or the time frame to end the war. In fact, he even called Iran a crafty negotiator.
Is there a line that they would cross for you to go on the offensive again militarily?
Well, a deal that wasn't going to be good for us is the line, ultimately, because, I'm playing it out and we're going to see, and that's what I do. I negotiate, they negotiate. They're very good negotiators. They're crafty. But in the end, we have all the cards because we've defeated them militarily. Well, I think we're doing very well. I think they're starting to give us the things that they have to give us. And if they do, that's great. And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
Meanwhile, Iran has said that it is taking time to sign the peace deal because they want to make sure that everything is in line with their interests.
About what the actions of Americans and what they are saying. What matters to us are the official messages we receive. And naturally, Iran will not accept anything that is not in line with our interests and those of our country. And this is the reason it is taking a few days to make sure everything is in line with our interests.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance did not look very optimistic about Iran's nuclear weapons stance. He said that there are a couple of issues regarding the nuclear stuff, and we're going back and forth with them on that. Listen into what he said.
If you look at what we've already accomplished here, assuming that we're able to get to a final agreement here, we're reopening the Straits of Hormuz. We've already decimated their conventional military, and we're in a position where we could substantially set back their nuclear program, not just during the term of this president, but over the long term. That's a very, very good thing for the American people. So we're not there yet, but we're very close, and we're going to keep on working at it.
Now, Vance's statement, remember, comes days after President Trump seemed to have toned down his rhetoric against Iran and posted a post on his Truth Social where he said, and I quote him, "The enriched uranium, nuclear dust will either be immediately turned over to the United States or preferably in conjunction and coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran." He said this a few days ago, and he said this today as well. A suggestion of a coordinated framework instead of threats and abuses. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, meanwhile, has been giving motivational speeches to the military despite the U.S. struggling to end the stalemate with Iran.
And as the president said, I'm lost on time, 2 days ago now, in the cabinet meeting, I'm sitting right next to him. He looks in the camera, he says, well, Iran can either do it the right way, with a deal across the table, or they can deal with my guy on the left. That happened to be me. But it's not me, it's you guys.
Now, the Strait of Hormuz still remains under Iranian control, even though America says that it is owned by nobody. In fact, Iran has renamed its toll to environmental cess. Multiple reports suggest that Iran is demanding $24 billion from the United States in exchange for reopening the Hormuz. Let's look at the battlefield too. The United States entered this war believing that its overwhelming military superiority would deter any escalation. Washington and its allies expected air superiority, strategic intimidation, and economic isolation to force Iran into retreat. Instead, the conflict expanded because Iran appears to understand something very critical in this war. that America's greatest vulnerability may not be military weakness, it may be strategic exhaustion. Iran cannot destroy the United States militarily, and Tehran knows that. But here's the interesting bit. Iran may not even need to do that. Its strategy appears built around something much more realistic, making the cost of confrontation politically, economically, and globally unbearable. Look at the Strait of Hormuz. One narrow waterway, nearly a fifth of the global oil flows through it. And every time tensions rise there, markets react instantly. Oil prices move and shipping insurers panic. Governments from Europe till Asia start making emergency calculations, and suddenly a regional war once again becomes a global economic crisis. That is leverage. And Iran understands this leverage. Tehran believes time favors endurance, not dominance. And that creates a very dangerous equation for Washington. Donald Trump demands visible results. The Iranian leadership, meanwhile, is known to tolerate long-term pain. And this difference matters enormously in this war. Now consider another example. Every escalation by the United States risks widening the war. We've seen that in Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and the UAE. American bases across the region suddenly become vulnerable pressure points. Military planners must calculate multiple fronts simultaneously. It uses up more time, more resources, and the cost rises. This is not a story of American defeat because Iran has also suffered enormously in this war. Its economy remains under severe sanctions. Its infrastructure has been damaged. But for years, America operated in a largely unipolar environment, one that it created for its own dominance. But now, rivals and adversaries increasingly believe that American power has its limits. Iran often frames the conflict not as a military contest alone, but as resistance against American pressure. Iran's leadership understands that perception itself can become a weapon. And multiple countries today question whether the United States is a reliable partner or not. So while America may still dominate in raw military capability, Iran has dominated strategy of the traditional battlefield. Iran has proven strategist Sun Tzu's words right, that the art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting.